Hey everyone, and welcome back to the SCREENY. As soon as Marvel fans left the theaters after Infinity War, they already started counting the days until its sequel. There's a lot of mystery surrounding the Avengers 4, but there's one thing we know for sure. Millions of fans will rush to the theaters when it finally premieres because it's the culmination of a decade's worth of MCU stories we've watched in awe. Will the Avengers 4 prove to be the fulfilling epilogue we've been patiently waiting for? Or a disaster of epic proportions? There are signs pointing in both directions, and it's time to face the fact that this movie could actually turn into a huge disappointment. This video contains several Infinity War spoilers, so you should tread lightly if you haven't seen it yet. Now, let's take a look at 8 reasons why the Avengers 4 will be trash. Before we reveal a few gloomy theories behind the most anticipated Marvel movie ever, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll make sure to surprise you with amazing new videos every day. Number 8. Heroes are gone for good. At the end of Infinity War, Thanos wiped out several beloved characters with a snap of his fingers. Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Star-Lord were among those who turned to ashes and left fans wondering, what happens next? Most of them made a logical conclusion and convinced themselves these characters can't possibly be dead. Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy sequels were already announced, and Marvel wouldn't squander an opportunity to continue Black Panther's story, right? Well, not exactly, at least according to Infinity War co-writer Stephen McFeely. He went on record saying all the deaths we've seen on the big screen are real, and the sooner we accept that, the sooner we'll be able to move on to the next stage of grief. Fans didn't take his advice and kept coming up with new theories that could undermine his statement. One of the most popular ones is connected to the Soul Stone. According to this theory, souls of the victims reside inside a pocket dimension, and they can come back to life after their essence is extracted from the Soul Stone. We'll see if there's truth to this after the Avengers 4 finally comes out, but the Russos implied that this theory is actually correct. Number 7. The Time Travel Paradox. It doesn't come as a surprise, many of the fan theories connected to the Avengers 4 involve time travel. Thanos already used the Time Stone to reverse Vision's death and collect the Mind Stone for himself in Infinity War, and it's only a matter of time before its special power is used again. After watching the departure of their favorite superheroes, many fans wondered if it would be possible to turn back time once again and bring them back. With both the Time Stones and Quantum Realm in the mix, that sounds like the most logical solution to this problem. Or is it? By this point in time, science fiction fans learned that time travel tends to be a magnet for disaster. In addition to be considering one of the laziest tropes in existence, it also creates dozens of plot holes it couldn't possibly justify. The MCU is so complex, it's almost impossible to imagine they'll manage to integrate time travel into the story without undermining one of the past narratives. We'll have to hope for the best in case wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff is involved, because it probably will be. How else could the screenwriters clean up the huge mess they left behind after Infinity War? Number 6. Heroes could come back evil. Another widespread theory suggests that the heroes who disappeared in Infinity War will be coming back, but they won't be the same people who left. Good guy gone bad is one of the most commonly used tropes in fiction, and we wouldn't be surprised if the Avengers decided to go down that road. Could they have a change of heart about Thanos' diabolical plan and decide to join him? Would they switch sides just to save their skin because things seem hopeless at this point? It's a long shot, but stranger things have happened. Some of the fans believe this theory might come into being in case time travel is involved. We've watched enough time travel stories to know awful things happen to people who meddle with time, and we wouldn't like to see our favorite heroes be destroyed by it. Comic book past of some of these characters, however, shows that they have a tendency to break bad. Bucky and Wanda are the most obvious candidates, and if they find a way to bring Vision back, he probably won't be the same again. We've seen him turn to white at the end of Infinity War, which reminded us of a comic book storyline where he completely lost emotional attachment to humans. Number 5. Stan Lee's Dark Past. Every time Stan Lee makes one of his legendary cameos in a Marvel movie, the audience can't help but stand up and cheer. This might change in the future, since it turns out Old Man Stan, has a few skeletons in his closet. At the same time Infinity War hit the theaters, the former editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics made the headlines after being sued for sexual assault. Lee allegedly repeatedly groped and harassed a string of young female nurses who took care of him at his home in Hollywood. He allegedly asked them for oral sex in the shower, walked around naked, and wants to be pleasured in the bedroom. His massage therapist filed a formal complaint against Lee, accusing him of assault, battery, violation of the Gender Violence Act, emotional distress, and civil conspiracy. The Marvel co-creator denied these claims and said he fully intends to fight to protect his stellar good name and impeccable character. Even if there's no truth to these rumors, seeing the next Stan Lee cameo won't be as fun as it used to be. Number 4. Marvel's villain problem. It's no secret Marvel doesn't have a great track record when it comes to coming up with compelling and complex villains. Most of its bad boys, apart from Loki, were criticized for being extremely two-dimensional and disposable. But they tried to fix this problem with Thanos. He was constantly described as the most dangerous threat the Avengers have ever faced and their most powerful enemy. But does that make him captivating? Not really, according to some of the critics who felt that we didn't get enough of the backstory to empathize with the Mad Titan. To be fair, Infinity War tried to give its main villain an emotional arc, but some of the fans felt betrayed that they used Gamora to accomplish this goal. Thanos' love for his adopted daughter was the only thing that made him seem human, but he was still ready to push her to certain death. Some of the viewers found this storyline heartbreaking, but others felt sick of seeing another female character being wasted away for the greater good. Or evil, in this case. The Avengers 4 could fix this problem, but we doubt they'll bother since they never did in the past. Number 3. Expectations are too high. There's a lot of euphoria surrounding the premiere of each and every Marvel movie, but the stakes will be even higher with the Avengers 4. Fans spent over a decade waiting for this moment to come, and they'll accept nothing but perfection. The MCU has a great track record with both the critics and the audience, and even the worst movies they've ever made received mostly positive reviews. Their fans are constantly expecting greatness, and they're ready to speak out when they don't get it. Just remember the days when Avengers Age of Ultron came out. Its IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes score sure make it look like a solid movie, but Marvel aficionados had a thing or two to say about the director Joss Whedon after it premiered. Expectations were high for Ultron, but they're even higher now. The Avengers 4 won't only be a follow-up to a great sequel, but also a movie that was a decade in the making. If it fails, it won't be considered just another bad movie in a series of bad movies. It will crash and burn, and take everyone down with it. Number 2. Limited screen time. One of Infinity War's main problems was seeing too many heroes cramped in one place, and we'll be dealing with the same issue in its sequel. Millions of viewers will buy the tickets and hope they'll get to root for their underrated fan favorites, but they won't get to do it because there's no time. Characters such as Bucky, Shuri, and M'Baku got their chance to shine in their origin movies, but they barely got any lines in Infinity War, and the same thing will probably happen in Avengers 4. There's no time for wish fulfillment when the future of the whole universe is at stake. Integrating new characters in the story is another problem. The latest installment in the franchise made much more time for Doctor Strange than some of the other characters who have been there from the very start. Same thing will probably happen with Ant-Man and Captain Marvel in the Avengers 4, because many of the fan theories revolve around them. It doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing, but the Russo brothers will probably have had to cut time with some of the other minor characters who have had devoted fan followings for years. Number 1. An end of an era. Some of the Marvel fans grew up watching Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans as their favorite comic book heroes, but it's possible they will never put on their costumes again. These two actors perfectly embodied Iron Man and Captain America, but they weren't meant to do it forever. The Avengers 4 is probably the last movie that we're going to see them taking on these roles. And same goes for many of the other actors in the franchise. Most of their contracts are expiring after the sequel to Infinity War hits the theaters, marking the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. Does this mean they'll be killed off in this movie or just pass the mantle to someone else? Whatever happens, it's going to suck because saying goodbye always does. Whoever takes on these roles in future will probably receive at least some backlash online, since that's how the internet works nowadays. We're yet to, so if their departure leaves fandoms divided and starts an avalanche of protests when recasting finally happens. Yes, emotional stakes will be higher than ever in Avengers 4. But at what cost? Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.